Welcome back once again to your YouTube channel ENCG Mate. So we are having a thorough interpretation and explanation of the story called The Price of Flowers, written by Prabhat Kumar Mukhopadhyay. The end of the second episode, suddenly Mr. Gupta received a postcard from Maggie. She wrote, let us see what did Maggie write in the postcard to dear Mr. Gupta. Dear Mr. Gupta, my mother is very ill. Condition of her mother is very bad. I have not been able to go to work for a week. For the last 7 days, Maggie was not in a position to go for a work. We shall be extremely grateful if you take the trouble to come to see us. Please, if you can, please come and visit us. And we will be extremely thankful to you, grateful to you. Maggie. That was the message written on the postcard. I had told the family with whom I lived about Maggie. So actually he told the family where the narrator was living about Maggie and her mother. At breakfast, the narrator spoke of the letter which came to him in the form of a postcard to the family where he lived. My hostess said, so the narrator is a guest and the family where he is living and the people who are giving accommodation and food to narrator is a hostess. So the narrator's hostess said, when you go, take some money with you, please. You are going to visit Maggie and her widowed mother. Please take some money with you. The girl has not been able to go to work for a week. For the last 7 days, the girl was not going for a work and she did not have any salary. And the mother is in a very bad condition. She had not received any pay. It is probably that they are hard up. Their condition will be very difficult. Please take some money with you and go and visit. After breakfast, the narrator took up some money and set out for lamp at the place where this family lives. Impoverished home. I knocked at the door. Maggie opened the door. She was looking much pulled down, very much exhausted, very much disappointed, very much tired, unhealthy. Her eyes were hollow. Eyes were just looking like hollow, set in a hole. And wrinkles were there. Oh, thank you, Mr. Gupta. She exclaimed when she saw me. Thank you, Mr. Gupta, when she saw me. It is so kind of you. I am very grateful that you at least took some kindness to come and visit us. The narrator asked the girl, how is your mother, Maggie? What's the condition of your mother? The girl is telling, she's sleeping now. Her condition is very serious. The doctor says that it is aggravated, became very bad, worsened. Her condition became worsened by her anxiety. It was not any other things because of her sadness over her son. Her anxiety over Frank. There is no news from him yet. Nothing about Francis or Frank is heard by the widowed mother and her sister. She may not sometimes live. I tried to give consolation to Maggie, drying her eyes with my handkerchief. So, Mr. Gupta, the narrator, dried the eyes of the little girl with his handkerchief. Maggie controlled herself with an effort and said, I have a request to make you, Mr. Gupta. Finally, she is asking a request. Mr. Gupta, what is it, Maggie? The narrator asked, what is that request? Come into the sitting room. and I will tell you. Please come to the sitting room. I will tell you what I have the request. She answered. We tiptoed carefully. Tiptoed means walking in 1 feet. Tiptoed because they don't want to make any noise because mother was sleeping. We tiptoed carefully into the sitting room lest, why did they tiptoe? With the fear, the sound of their footsteps, both the girls' footsteps and also the narrator's footsteps should not disturb the sick woman. I turned when I reached the center of the room. When he reached the center of the room, he turned and remained standing there. He stood there for some. What is it, Maggie? He asked Maggie, what is it? I repeated my question. Maggie gazed up into my face with the beseeching eyes. Beseeching means here need something very much. That means in a beseeching eye, needing something. That is all. I waited then. She covered her face with her hands and wept silently. You see, she covered her face with her hands and wept, cried without making noise silently. I was in a fix. Fix means confusion. The narrator was in a confusion. What could I say to console this child? What words I must speak to this little girl to make her happy? Her brother was fighting on the frontier. Yes, actually the regiment where her brother was working was fighting on the frontier. Only God knew whether he was alive or dead. Nobody knows what was the condition of her brother, Frank or Francis. Whether he was alive or dead, nobody. Only God knows that. Her mother was the only one person who is not getting any correct answer to her enquiries and also her anxieties. That is what here we come to know about that one. Her mother is the only person. Her mother, that means Frank's mother, is the only person she had on earth. This little girl doesn't have anybody else except her brother who is working in the Punjab, and also her that means sick mother. If she lost her, what would happen? If mother is also dead, what will happen to this little girl? Where in London could this girl, on the threshold of adolescence, go? Where this girl will go? In this very traumatic and pathetic condition, the narrator pulled her hands away from her face, removed her hand from her face, and asked her, Maggie, tell me, what do you wish me to do? Come on, tell me, what should I do for you? If there is anything I can do to help you, no problem, you can tell me. I will never say no. I will surely fulfill your request. I shall not hesitate. Mr. Gupta, the girl said, I don't know what you will think of the request. I don't know what you will think about my request if I am going to make. Please, if it is not good for you, forgive me. If it is very, very wrong. If my request is very, very wrong, please forgive me. The narrator asked, what is it? What do you wish to ask? Tell me. All day yesterday, mother kept saying that if Mr. Gupta would come and gaze into the crystal. Mother was wishing some Indian to come and look into or gaze into the crystal. He might learn something about the Frank. That was the belief of the sick mother. Mr. Gupta is a Hindu. The girl said, Mr. Gupta, you are a Hindu. If you only, he would come. If only he would come, she said, that is why I wrote you. Actually, The mother asked me, if Gupta, that Indian, can come to our house and once again look into the crystal of the ring. That was the wish of the mother. That is what Maggie wrote in a postcard to Mr. Gupta. Then the narrator is telling the girl, no problem. If you want me to try once more, go and bring me the ring, Maggie. Of course I will do. I will look into it. But if you don't see anything again this time, I understood what Maggie meant. I was silent. You see, this time Maggie told, for the betterment of my mother, sick mother, please look once again into the mirror of the glass, into the crystal glass of the ring. And if you don't see, please don't tell my mother that you could not see anything. And the narrator understood what the girl meant. I was silent. Mr. Gupta, I have read in books that Hindus are extremely truth-loving people. If you could bring yourself to tell mother only once, after looking into the crystal, that Frank is all right, that he is alive, will it be too much of a lie? Will it be a very, very wrong? As she spoke, tears streamed from her eyes. You see, that is so. The girl is telling, Mr. Gupta, the girl had read from the books that Hindus are truth-loving people. Even if he doesn't see anything by looking into the crystal of the ring, and he must say the sick mother, widowed mother, that Frank is all right, that he is alive, will not be a lie. And won't it be a very, very wrong from the part of, as she spoke, when she spoke these things, tears came without stopping from her eyes. The narrator, I thought it over. I am not very virtuous. Mr. Gupta is telling now, I am not very virtuous man. I have done my sinful things. Mr. Gupta also have done many bad things in his life. So, I decided to do this. Means he decided to tell a lie to the girl's mother. It would be the least of my offenses. Of course, nothing. If I want to make a widowed mother in a good condition or a better condition, this lie will be a virtue. No offense. My offenses will have nothing least. Please, Maggie, don't cry. Where is the ring? Let me take a good look at it this time. If I do see anything, I shall do as you suggest. God will forgive me if it is wrong. Okay. Maggie brought me the ring. I took the ring and said, see if your mother is awake. If your mother is getting up from her sleep, please tell me. Maggie brought me the ring. I took it and said, see if your mother is awake. 15 minutes passed before Maggie came back. Mother is awake, she said. I have told her you are here. Told, mother is there, and I told my mother that Mr. Gupta is present at home. May I see her now? The narrator, please come. The girl invited him. I approached the mother's bedside. The ring was in my hand. Wishing her a good morning, I said, Mrs. Clifford. That is what he addressed the sick mother, widowed mother. Mrs. Clifford. Let us see what he is going to tell the sick mother. Your son is alive. He is well. The old woman raised her head a little off the pillow. Then she asked, did you see that in the crystal? She asked. Yes, Mrs. Clifford. I answered without any hesitation. The narrator told without any kind of hesitation. I have seen it. Her head dropped back. Tears of happiness came from her eyes. She whispered faintly, God bless you. God bless you. Mrs. Clifford became in a good condition. She recovered. It was almost time for me to return, to go back to my country. I wished to go to Lambeth to say goodbye to Maggie. Now he wanted to go back to his country, native country, and it is a time to go. And he went back once again to Lambeth to say goodbye to Maggie and her mother. But he went over there. The family was in the mourning. M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G. They were in a very sad condition, wearing black clothes in a crying condition, mourning, crying. Frank had been killed in the fighting on the frontier. The truth, the climax of the story. There is no wait for the widowed mother and the young girl. Frank had been killed in the fighting on the frontier. A month ago, Maggie had sent me a card with a black border. Actually, a postcard with a black border. I calculated. I estimated from the date and found that Frank had been dead. Some days when I told his mother he was alive and well. Really, that truth happened at that time. I felt, the narrator felt very much ashamed, feeling shame to face Mrs. Clifford. So the narrator wrote a letter to them announcing his departure, going back and bidding them goodbye. The morning of my last day in London happened. I was to leave before the night. As I was breakfasting with the family, host family, there was a knock at the door. A minute or two later, the maid came in and announced, "Please, Mr. Gupta, Miss Clifford," not Mrs. Clifford, the little girl, "has come to see you." Miss Clifford. My breakfast was unfinished. Mr. Gupta did not complete his breakfast. Maggie had come to say goodbye. With the fear she be late for office because of the narrator. I took the permission of my hostess. Mr. Gupta got permission from the hostess and got up from the table without completing his breakfast. Maggie was standing in the hall. She was wearing black clothes. The narrator took Maggie into the adjoining library and made her sit down. The girl asked, "Are you leaving today?" "Yes, Maggie, today is the day of my departure," the narrator said. "How long will it take you to reach your country?" "A little more than 2 weeks journey I have to reach my country." "In what part of the country do you live in?" the girl asked. "Which part of the country do you live in?" "I have entered the Punjab civil service. I shall not know exactly where I am posted until I arrive my country." That is what he is telling. So actually, the narrator Gupta is not quite sure about where his posting will be. Really, he is having his posting in Punjab. From Punjab, which place he will be adopted for just having his work. Then the girl asked him, "Is the frontier very far from there?" The narrator told him, not very far. Then the girls told her, "Frank is buried at Fort Monroe." Means her brother's dead body was buried at Fort Monroe near Deragasi Khan. The girl's eyes were filled with tears as she spoke. "When I go to that part of the country, I shall visit your brother's grave and I will write to you, Maggie." Then the girl is telling, Will it be a troublesome or nuisance for you or inconvenient? Maggie asked the narrator. Why should it be? Derakasi Khan is not very far from where I shall be, where I live. It is very close to me. It will certainly be possible for me. It is very, very possible for me to go there someday. I will write and tell you about these things. You don't worry about this. Maggie's face was filled with gratitude, thankfulness. As she thanked me, her voice chopped. There was an interruption in her voice. She took a shilling out of her pocket. She took a shilling out of a money, a coin from her pocket, and put it down on the table in front of the narrator, saying, please buy flowers with the shilling when you go, and lay those flowers on my brother's grave for me, as a token of my love to my brother. In my emotion, I lowered my eyes. That means the narrator was also going to cry. The child had earned the shilling with so much hard work. Toil means hard work. I felt like returning this money to her, explaining that in our country flowers grow in great profusion, great number, great profusion, great abundance, and do not have it to be purchased. Actually, the narrator wanted to give back the shilling to the girl. The shilling, the money to the girl back. Because the narrator knew that the girl earned the money with much hard work or toil. And he wanted to substantiate that. Flowers grow. In India, there are more flowers we will get in free. And we need not to buy or we need not to purchase flowers by giving money. But I reconsidered. But the narrator again reconsidered, thought again. Why should I deprive her of the joy this sacrifice would give her? All that the shilling could have given her, she was foregoing for the love of her brother. The joy of doing it was beyond all praise. The grief in her heart would be erased a little. What good would it do to deprive her of it? I picked up the shilling. You see here? Even if the girl earned the shilling with hard work and much toil, it will be her happiness. Out of her very bad financial conditions, she spared at least a shilling to buy flowers and send it as a gift to her deceased or dead brother. By that she will get a mental consolation or comfort. At least I could do something from my hard work to buy a bunch of flowers worth of a shilling and present this bunch of flowers on the grave of her loving brother Frank or Francis. So finally the narrator picked up the shilling from the table. Maggie, the narrator called, I shall use this shilling to buy flowers and put them on your brother's grave. Maggie stood up. How can I thank you? She said. Now it is time for me to go to work. Goodbye. Remember to write to me. She is very busy to go back to her work and earn money. The narrator got up and took her hand in mine. She took the little girl's hand into his hand. Goodbye, Maggie. God bless you. I sent and pressed her hand to my lips. Maggie left from the room. I wiped a tear or two from my eyes. That means the narrator was also crying. And went upstairs to pack his bags. So This was written in really original Bengali language and was translated from Bengali by Laila Ray. With that, we came to the end of the story, The Price of Flowers by Prabhat Kumar Mukhopadhyay. And also the words and fulfillment of the words. That is what the title substantiates and justifies the story, The Price of Flowers. So I hope you have benefited out of this. We will come with more activities and read and respond, think and write textual activities. I hope that you have benefited, and please forget not to share and subscribe and make this class very useful. Wish you all the best. Thank you.